Welcome back to another episode of Ruthless TV, where I break down your favorite drama series, scene by scene. Now, let's get into this video. Today, I'll be reviewing Season 2, Episode 4 of The Family Business Heated Up. The show opens with Sasha and London riding through the hood looking for LoJack. In the conversation on the way, ear-hustling Sasha told London that word on the street is that she was about to become the queen of weed. Of course, London wanted to know where she heard that from, and she told her that she overheard LC and Orlando talking about it. But then London had to tell her that she actually lost the land to developers, and that she couldn't understand why her husband would not help her with the deal. She knew that Harrison had the ability and the talent and the know-how to, talk them out of the deal so that she could purchase the property. Then Sasha suggested that he's probably upset because London wants a divorce. And Sasha knows about this because she actually overheard her and Consuela outside. Remember, they were a little bit tipsy on those weed gummies. And London says that Harris would really be upset if he knew that the family knew that they were kind of going through that. And then Sasha vowed not to tell anyone. So they finally get out of the car and they see this group of heat-hustling dealers standing around re-upping on the heat. Then London tells them that she's looking for LoJack, and of course the thugs did not want to give him up initially. But London, of course, convinced him otherwise before he decided to give up LoJack's location. Then we cut to Spain, where the twins are hanging out with Niles, and Paris is publicly announcing their love escapades, which makes Niles feel a bit uncomfortable. But Paris tells him that they're twins and they share everything, basically, so don't sweat it. Then in walks Orlando with this bright orange sherbet coat. This bright orange sherbet coat. I mean, he be sharp, right? That's all I'm gonna say. But Niles also recognized that he's standing right behind him. And then Paris says that he's just a family friend, which further keeps their real identities hidden. Because at this point, Niles still doesn't know that he's actually sleeping with the daughter of the man that he's been hired to kill. Paris and Rio excuse themselves from the table. Orlando tells them to say their goodbyes to Loverboy Niles because they gotta go. The bad girls finally get in to see LoJack, and it's not actually LoJack that they are looking for. Who they actually want is Brother X. And LoJack, he's not really trying to give them up, but London tells him that she knows that he provides Brother X with cars, fake registrations, tags, and all the other fake documents. So she knows that he knows, where he is. And LoJack still doesn't want to give him up. And the last time that they encountered each other, he said that he suffered a broken jaw and some other, mishaps. But he's a bit scared. But then they gave him $5,000 for his troubles. But he still didn't want to comply. So Sasha stepped in because apparently he needed just a little bit more convincing. So then he tells them that Brother X has a right-hand man named Brother Adam. He says that, to the public, he's this upstanding Muslim, but he's a freak on Thursdays. He told him that he actually goes to this sex club every Thursday, and he's always with an Asian mistress in Far Rockaway, New York. Try saying that 3 times. And London is actually pressing him for the exact location or the address. But then, of course, old Sasha here, she knows exactly where it is and told her not to worry about it. Paris, Rio, and Orlando are on the private plane headed back to the house where Orlando is filling them in on what's happening. Paris originally thought that it was Consuela and her people who wanted revenge. But Orlando tells her that it's not Consuela, but it's actually Sonia's husband, who is a Muslim hitman and wants Junior's head on a platter. And Orlando's ego is a bit bruised because he and his dad are a bit sick and tired of people, coming for the Duncans. And they're basically officially at war. And Junior is, of course, priority number 1 at this point. Now we see Brother X, Elijah, and the gang doing their yoga stretches. Then, immediately after all that peace and serenity and calmness, Brother X turns around and starts yelling with all of this anger. Like, what's wrong with you, bro? What's the matter? He tells Elijah that he wants to know every move that Junior Duncan makes. He said that he knows exactly how good Sonia's cookie is, and Junior is not going to give it up all on his own. Nope. That's what he said. He ain't gonna do it. So he's just going to have to take him out. But then Brother Elijah tells him, look, we're not dealing with some prison inmate or some common person on the street. He tells him that Junior hasn't left his home in days and that he actually had to pull some of the men off of surveillance because the Duncans are millionaires and they have a lot of resources. He goes on to tell him that they have armed men inside and outside of their mansion. But does X want to listen? Nope, he don't want to hear it. He doesn't want to listen to Brother Elijah's logic, his reasonable logic at that. And he says that he wants Junior Duncan dead by the end of the week, period. Then we move to Junior, who's manhandling Rob to give him his keys. Rob tells him that he can't give him his keys because he doesn't have them. He has to go and talk to his mommy and his daddy. Side note here, this is what happens when you live with the entire family. When everybody lives together, I don't care how old you are, they're going to always treat you like the baby boy. But I really don't like the way they're handling Junior at all. But in order for him to gain respect as a grown man, he's just going to have to leave. That's it. So then LC and the wrath of Chippy comes through the door. One thing I can say is that they give Chippy the utmost respect as their mom. But Chippy tells Junior that she's the one that has the keys and that he's not getting them back because it's not safe for him to go out because there's a man on the loose who's trying to kill him. Now we travel down to Mexico. I tell you, I'm doing more traveling with these reviews on these shows than I've ever done in my life. They be all over the globe, right? So we have Senor Cruz, who's sipping on his 1977 tequila when he's joined by the leaders of the Assassin's Guild, Naja and Armand. Juan brings them over, and after they sit down, Senor Cruz asks about their father, and the son tells him that he's enjoying his retirement in Dubai. And then he said that he would offer them a drink, but he knows that that's not their style. But then Naja tells him that not drinking is their father's way, and the guild has changed. So then she grabs her glass, and they salute, okay? They want to know why Senor Cruz went behind the Duncans' back to have Consuela killed. Apparently, someone has hired Naja and her father and whoever else to take Consuela out. But Senor Cruz says that he knows nothing about it. Juan then gets up and whispers in his ear that someone has access to all of his emails and his private accounts. So when they leave, he finds out that his son is the one who actually called them on his behalf. And he was furious. He was so upset because he did that. Then he told his son that had they not had respect for him as a man and who he was, that they could have come in to kill him and everyone who was in their house. So his son kind of started to feel bad about it, but he really wants to get Consuela back. And he was telling his dad that Senor Cruz is the one that made the commitment with the Duncans, but it was not him. So he wants to get Consuela back, and he really doesn't care. But I think that after his dad talked to him, that he kind of calmed down just a little bit. So maybe he'll stay in his place and not move ahead of him next time. Then we cut to Junior on the phone, still leaving Sonia yet another message. Apparently, she's still not picking up. He then calls someone who I guess owes him a huge favor, and he just basically tells him that he's going to need his help. Then we see LC and Biscuit having drinks when they see old thirsty Bernie. They were wondering what he was doing there. Bernie tells them that the word on the street is that there's a war that's brewing with them and Brother X, and he wanted to help. And LC tells him that he's known him for a long time and he doesn't do anything for free, and he wanted to know what he wanted in return for his help. Bernie told them that he could have Brother X taken care of within 24 hours if they gave him a cut in the manufacturing of heat. Then Harris chimes in and says, 24 hours, that's a really quick turnaround. And he just really, I don't like his character anyway, but he's always interjecting. He wants to be a Duncan so bad. He just wants to weasel his little way in there regardless. No matter what he has to do, he wants to just get in there, you know? But anyway, LC says he doesn't care how quick of a turnaround it is, that the manufacturing of heat belongs to the Duncans and the Duncans only. Then we make our way on to the sex club, and I'm surprised that Sasha's not there joining her, but I guess because she's been there before, she just didn't want to be spotted. So Paris is accompanying London on this trip, and they have the twins with them. So they spot Brother Adam with the Asian mistress, and Paris decided to, walk over and make friends. So they, got into a conversation about their slaves. I guess it's the slave and master night. So they got into a conversation about their slaves, and they decided to switch. So once they got Brother Adam alone in one of the sex rooms, the girls sat him down and tied him up all nice and tight. In the meanwhile, the twins have the Asian persuasion hemmed up in another sex room. And then they brought the twins in, and the twins came in to get all the info that they needed on Brother X's whereabouts. And another side note here, I noticed how well the girls are getting along. Like, they never get along. They're always at each other's throats. But when it comes to the family business, they get along very well. They follow each other's lead very well. So I don't know, maybe they need to go on more assignments together, but I don't know why they don't even like each other. I don't think I picked that up in the episodes. If somebody knows why they just can't stand each other, let me know in the comments. Then the twins report back to LC and let him know where Brother X is and his crew. And he tells them that they're holed up in a hotel room, but they're sitting on a hill somehow, so it's not going to be so easy to get to them. Then LC asks Orlando when was the last time he was in contact with Stan Wright, who is Brother X's worst nightmare. Then in the final scene, Senior Cruz takes his son to this cave where they apparently have Alejandro, Consuela's ex-husband. Well, I guess it's still her husband, but he's supposed to be dead. But they have him hemmed up in confinement. Senior Cruz tells him that he had to keep him there to basically get his mind right. He said that he's not going to kill him, but instead he's going to let him go. And, he gave him a wad of cash. And before he left, I guess there was an understanding between the two of them that he was going to go and get revenge on Consuela, because Senior Cruz wants to be a man of his word and not touch her like he promised the Duncans. But, her husband never made that promise, so he's going to be the one to get revenge on her. He told him that if he got in contact with Snow, that he would be able to find her. He did tell her that she's in between New York and California, but to get in touch with Snow, and Snow should be able to find out where she is. So that concludes this episode of The Family Business. I hope you liked it. Please drop a comment, a like, share the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. If you're in Canada and you're a fan of the channel, go ahead and drop a comment and let us know that you're in the building. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and I will see you on the next one.